a star, baby.
To be
Listen
in
to
my
my show. How are you today? Listen, it's Friday evening, 10 o'clock, and of course, this is Brown on Cleveland inside the Little Hut podcast. And of course, tonight I got one epic, stingy, not stinky, but stingy show that is forthcoming. But of course, before I get started, I got to say hello to my sponsors real quick. Don't forget to reach out to Aletha Johnson of Dream Team Realty. She's my favorite realtor, right? So if you need a home, new construction, whatever the case may be, call her at 216-375-3681. And if you're looking for t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, tumblers, cups, mugs, team uniforms, and or political campaign shirts, you want to reach out to New Beginnings 1111 and ask for Angie Marie, right? Her number is 216-395-7335. And of course, my sponsors of Garfield Heights, they're always hanging out with yours truly, Brown, 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 that damn Brown on Cleveland. Now, enough of that. Well, you know what? We are days away from election 2024. And I have someone hanging out with me, and I wanted to go outside of Cuyahoga County. So I decided to go south, and I ended up in the city of Akron, Summit County. So today I have with me none other than, wait, not yet, not yet, not yet. Her name is Tyra Mosley, right? And she was the first African American woman to run for mayor for the city of Akron. And in my opinion, she should have won. And she was also the first African American councilwoman, right? Of Ward 5 in the city of Akron. Welcome to the show, Tyra.
Thank you for having me
Of
to the Little
course.
Hut podcast. I
Little Hut,
love it.
are you afraid of the little hut?
I am not. I am not. I'm here for it.
Okay. Well, the only reason why I did ask you that question, some people think I was trying to be funny, but actually I'm being serious because what I find out about a lot of elected officials and former elected officials, for some reason, they're afraid to come inside the little hut and sit with Brown on Cleveland. And, I don't know why, but one thing I will not do, I will not allow them to mess with my self esteem. No, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. But at any rate, how are you today?
I am doing well. It's Friday and it's a cold but beautiful day. We woke up. So what more can we ask for?
Right. You know what? The other thing I forgot to say about you is this because I want people to know exactly who you are. Like you really need an introduction because you really don't. But you also ran for lieutenant governor,
I
right?
did
Right.
in
You were on the ticket
2018
with
alongside yeah,
correct. So you're nothing really but a history maker,
yeah,
right?
with Dennis Kucinich, 2018. Yep.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
So
I
let's.
think I went out a little bit here.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, that's okay because I can hear you now.
Yeah.
But listen, let's get right
Okay.
down to the game. Election 2024 is a very hot topic. I want to hear your thoughts and I want to get a pulse on the city of Akron. And the reason why I'm asking you and no one else is because every time I look around, you are always in the news. You are always doing something. You got your hands in everything. And when I say everything, not anything negative, but when it comes to trying to push the apple cart, if they need somebody to push a caboose, Tara is right there, right there, right there, right there. So what's going on in the city of Akron, Brown or Cleveland?
So here in Akron, Summit County, the early voting is off and running. We voted on Monday, and
Okay.
we stood in line a little over an hour. It was packed.
Hmm.
It was constantly people coming in, and the way they have it set up is the handicap voters, they get to park in the back in their cars, and they're coming out and giving them their ballots right there at the driveway, which is great. because, you don't want our elders standing in line for an hour, 2 hours to vote, because then you get people that are turned off. So when we talk about early voting, it is off and running here in Summit County. We see an effort, a groundswell of people going to the polls. And here in Akron specifically, we have a levy on the ballot to rebuild one of our high schools that have been forgotten, but in one of the fastest growing parts of our city in the county, which is North Hill. So issue 27 is absolutely bringing Akron voters out. Of course, issue 1 is bringing voters out, but then we also have Amelia Sykes, who is Akron's own, and that's bringing people out because, people want to make sure that Amelia gets back in that seat. Now, what I have noticed though is this issue with Sherrod Brown. And so there's a bigger push trying to keep Sherrod in that seat within Summit County now. And I've seen him more in Summit County in the last 7 days that I've seen in years.
Let me ask you
And
this.
so, yeah.
Let me interest you right quick. You mentioned Amelia Sykes. There was an article in the Plain Dealer, it's been all over the news, 358 and I think 19, about where she resides, right? There's a huge issue because you have some Republicans, her opponents, are saying that she does not live in the district where she is trying to serve. Brown on Cleveland. I don't live in Akron.
Yeah, that's incorrect. Amelia lives in Akron. She does not live that far from me. I see her quite frequently and quite often. It's no secret who she's married to. They see each other, but she lives here. I have seen her consistently here. And it's funny that you say that because even when I was running for office for the very first time, I had it's funny for me, it was Democrats who tried to challenge my residency.
But wait, but you're a Democrat.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that, it was interesting because it took a Democrat and 2 Republicans to say, you know what, she lives in the ward. Let's stop it right now. And so I do believe that Secretary of State LaRose will concur and say she lives in the district. We're not about to do any of this, but this is what they do. I mean, if you look at all the commercials have gotten to the point of just, you can't escape them. Can't escape them. They're everywhere. My 7-year-old granddaughter got in the car with me the other day, and she was so upset you would have thought she was a voter. And she said,
7.
I am so tired of the commercials, and they better quit talking about my Auntie Amelia. Like, all my grandkids know her. And she was so upset. And she says, they're paying people to lie. She's 7. She's 7. And that goes on both sides. Like some of the commercials, it's like, at what point as a candidate do you say, you know what? We got to get attorneys involved now. What do we do? Do you just sit there and take it like the transgender commercials? Just too much. It's too much.
Now, you mentioned the race of Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown, they say that there's a close race between him and Bernie Moreno. Do you think, being the political savvy person that you are, that Sherrod Brown has anything to worry about? Tyra Mosley inside the little hut, in the hot seat, Brown on Cleveland. Your thoughts?
Sherrod Brown. I think that Senator Brown is in the race of his life, of his political life right now. I truly believe that.
Wait, after 31 years?
Yeah. I mean, Ohio is a red state now. Why do you think none of these candidates have come here? He's not like cutting a district like Congresswoman Sykes. It's the entire state. And there is a reason why none of these presidential candidates, only one who's come here is Walz. And he came here down to either Cincinnati, I think it was Cincinnati. But they're not coming here because last election, Trump won it by 12 points. And so that in itself worries Senator Brown's campaign. I have seen them pushing more now in these last 7 days that
Mhm.
I've never seen from his campaign ever having to do. Out of all the candidates last election, he was the only one that was saved in that debacle.
Okay.
He is well liked by Republicans as well. So I think that um, if he wins this election, it'll probably be about 3 or 5 points.
Interesting. Brown on Cleveland. Let's talk about the Ohio Supreme Court. The Ohio Supreme Court. You got three Dems that are being challenged by three Republicans. Now, like you stated, Ohio is a red state. I remember when the last race, it was Sharon Kennedy, right? Challenging Jennifer Bruno, where Jennifer Bruno was challenging Sharon Kennedy. And I knew that Jennifer, just by being a mere Dem, could not beat a Sharon Kennedy. You say what on this election? Does the three Ohio Supreme Court judicial candidates, do they have anything to worry about? Brown on Cleveland, speaking with Tara Mosley from the City of Akron. You say what?
They have the party affiliation next to their names now. And so, well, I know the Ninth District Court of Appeals, that's how I believe that Judge Teodosio, they used to be nonpartisan, and they still are nonpartisan, but they have the
Okay.
party affiliation next to them. I believe that's how Judge Teodosio, who he and his wife, they are the juggernauts of Summit County. And when he lost, I said to myself, when a Teodosio loses a judicial seat, we are in trouble. We are
Okay.
in trouble. And so, what I'm more concerned with is that you have a sitting Ohio Supreme Court justice who is running against another sitting justice while he's already sitting there. So he's
Okay.
making a unilateral move to run against Judge Stewart, but he's already there. So what I see is their hope is he'll take her out and then they'll be able to appoint a Republican to his seat. And I think all of this really, to me, I believe is uh, the Justice O'Connor effect, because they're so upset Maureen O'Connor with her going out and saying that these districts are unfair, and it's that it was a reason why issue 1 was birthed, because 7 times as a retired justice, the Chief Justice, she said the districts were unfair. And I think a lot of them were upset with her doing that. So they want to try to get their people back in there. But out of all these candidates, outside of Justice Stewart, who I've seen her on the trail in 2018 because I was running around the same time as she
Mhm.
was, and she was the first Black woman to win statewide, a
Now
state
we're
seat.
we're 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 talking about Melanie Stewart.
Melanie Stewart, yep.
Okay. Okay.
And so, but out of all the candidates, I've not seen anyone more than I've seen Judge Lisa Forbes. She is everywhere.
Okay.
She is everywhere. And so I think she's going to do a lot better than what people think. But
Okay.
again, Ohio is a red state. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what's going to happen when you start talking about these judicial seats.
Wow, that's interesting. I am so excited about November 5th because we haven't voted yet. I love to go to the polls because that's where the excitement is. But let's talk about the big kahuna race. That darn Kamala Harris and that darn Donald Trump. I was on National Fox News this week, Fox and Friends at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Woo,
And
how did you do that?
because, that's what your girl does for Fox News,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And
You gotta go into the lion's den.
but I'm independent, so
Right.
there's a little different. But it was just so funny to me as they talk about this race. I'm not gonna have an opinion on this race because I think this is a race that I am going to pass on. Honest to goodness. But I have to go to the polls and vote for other people. But being serious, your thought on the presidential candidates and the race in general. Brown on Cleveland. Tyra Mosley in the hot seat.
Well,
You in the hot seat. You know that,
Donald
right?
Trump, Donald Trump is a danger to America.
Why do you
He's
say
a
that?
danger. Um, the rhetoric, the
Okay.
rhetoric in the last couple days has even picked up to a place of of discomfort even for Republicans. I have a lot of Republican friends. I am a Democrat, but I am an independent thinker who happens to belong to the Democratic Party. And a lot of times they don't agree with me because of me being an independent thinker, and that's okay. But uh, I'm always going to be on the right side of history, always, because I am always going to be for the people. And Donald
Okay.
Trump is not for the people. He is for himself. He is for himself, and the fact that, when you think about some of the things that he's saying, and this, I think that the rally at Madison Square Garden was the shift for a lot of people who were on the fence, who thought they were going to support him, when
Mhm.
they listened to the rhetoric that he allowed people who came on before him, and he did nothing to diffuse it.
Mhm.
You're calling our Latino brothers and sisters garbage, and they're floating garbage. And what he did was, a lot of those Latinos and Latinas who supported him, I mean, he lit a fire that he should have left alone. Because what he did was, when Bad Bunny came out against him, when Mark Anthony came out against him, now Jennifer Lopez has come out against him. Nikki, what's the Nikki guy's name that was supporting him? He's now come out against him. You've got Bad Bunny is the Taylor Swift to the Latino community. And he has activated them, and not in a good way for him, because you disrespected them. And the thing about it is, when you disrespect a culture, you're going to see something you didn't want to see. I mean, there was no one exempt on that rally. The
Mhm.
Latino community got it. Black people got it. Women got it. The LGBTQ community got it. You name it, they got it. They left no one unturned, unless you look like what they believe America is supposed to look like.
Hey, let me ask
And
you this. Let me
yes,
ask you this. Out of fairness, I gotta ask you this. Joe Biden came back and said the people who support Donald Trump, that they're garbage. Number one.
yeah,
Wait,
absolutely.
wait. Number two, which in fact is tick for tack. It's like preschoolers, and this is something I don't like about politics. And then two, when Joe Biden was running the last election, he made a comment and said that if you don't vote for him, you're not
You're
black.
not black. Oh
Your
yeah.
thoughts,
Oh
Brown or
yeah.
Cleveland.
I mean, and he deserved the same criticism. The
Okay.
same criticism, absolutely. Because, when you guys get caught in these gaffes that they want to call them,
Hmm.
and then you at least he apologized and said, I was wrong and I shouldn't have said that. Trump is not going to ever apologize. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, he doubled down and went and got a garbage truck and put Trump on the side of it with yellow vest. I was don't
Unbelievable.
you're
Unbelievable.
poking the bear. And so I just don't understand it. Now, I will admit, in the beginning, when Kamala Harris ran for president, I was not a Kamala Harris supporter at all. As you see behind me, I am Team Bernie Sanders. I
You know
believe
what?
Bernie Sanders would have been a better president. I not only did I support him, I was a delegate for him the first time, and I was a PLO delegate and a surrogate the second time. Like, I traveled this country and I advocated for Medicare for all, right alongside Senator Sanders.
But
I
you know what,
believe,
Tara? Here's the
yes,
thing. And I noticed that the Bernie Sanders plaque behind you. It's interesting because I was with my mom yesterday and we were talking about the election. And she says that this would have been a great time for Bernie to run. I said, why? She says, because I would have run to the polls for him. But she voted for, you know, but a lot of people are saying they wish we had a better ticket. I always make a joke and say this: Harris and Trump should have been on the same ticket, and
no,
we should have had a qualified ticket. That's just me. But enough about Trump. Your thought about Miss Harris. Miss Harris just had a video. She was at a church, and she was trying to come off like Martin Luther King. She says, "Weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning." You are not king. Don't make a mockery of the church.
yeah,
She was
I
not,
just, yeah.
she did not win the primary election because there was no primary election. So some people got an issue with that. But what are your thoughts about Kamala Harris, Brown on Cleveland, Tyra Mosley in the hot seat, City of Akron, asking her for her political opinion, Brown on Cleveland?
So as I stated earlier, when she ran the first time, I didn't support her. I supported Senator Sanders. I took issue with things that I believe to be egregious to Black men as the DA. But then I did my research,
Hmm.
like I wish a lot of other people would have done. And so I was like, okay, well, some of the things I believe to be true were not.
Okay.
And so, I admitted that. And I said that publicly when I said that I was a supporter. I had issues with things that I felt that wronged Black men. And so, I formed my own opinion, but I was always going to be Team Sanders because he's someone that I went to early on when he was running. And I said, look, I originally, supported Hillary Clinton, but I never could get them to respond to me when I talked about returning citizens and restoring their rights to vote. They would never respond to me, wouldn't call me back. So finally, former State Senator Nina Turner invited me to a rally at the
Okay.
Wolstein Center. And he sat there and he talked to me. And I said, I want to know, what are you going to do to restore the voting rights of returning citizens? And he says, I already have a bill sitting. They won't pass it. And I was like, are you kidding me? I went and looked, and absolutely, he'd been trying to get it passed. And so when we talk about being an independent voice and an independent, he's a true independent. And
Okay.
and so I hope that when this election comes out on the other side, and I do believe that Vice President Harris is going to win. I believe she's going to win because reproductive rights are on the ballot.
Mhm.
And even those white women that Trump believed are going to support him are going to go in that booth and they're going to vote for her
Okay.
because they're making it appear as if like only Black women are running and getting abortions, and that's not true. That's
Hmm.
not true. And so
Hmm.
when you say you're going to take away the rights of our daughters and our granddaughters, they find issue with that. So I do believe she'll win. I believe it's going to be close. She won't win Ohio. She
Okay.
won't win Ohio at all. But I do believe that all those states that have a large Latino community, yeah, they're gonna pull up on this, and they're honestly probably going to decide this election.
Okay. Well, very good. Our time is up. Thank you for coming inside the Little Hut
Absolutely.
podcast because you're coming to a podcast that most people run from. And I don't deal
Well,
with
I'll come
cowards
back
anyway.
anytime.
So listen, wrap this thing up for me in 90 seconds and tell people why they got to get out to vote on November 5th.
So it is important for you to cast your vote in this election and all elections because your voice matters and your vote matters. If you don't want to be a part of the process
Mhm.
and moving this community and this country forward, you just become part of the problem and you just become a complainer. So show up, show out, cast your vote, and hopefully it's to move our community and our country forward in the right way.
There you go. Brown, brown, brown. That damn brown on Cleveland inside the Little Hut podcast. Now, you guys know me. I'm an independent. Come see, come saw. Go left, go right. No, I'm going to stay right in the middle. This one here, I'm going to take a pass on. Whew, Lord, forgive me. But I got to do what I got to do that's best for me and my family. And sometimes you got to get out the way and allow people just to drive the car sometimes for you. There's nothing wrong with sometimes taking a back seat. So Brown on Cleveland is doing just that. But as I say each and every Friday, you know me. I know a lot of you guys don't like me, and I'm okay with it because, hey, listen, Sarah, I don't like them mofos either. But listen, if you need me, call me. Don't talk about me because I will talk about your back. Say goodbye, Tyra.
Bye. You guys have a good one.
You guys have a great one. You've been inside the Little Hut podcast with Brown, Brown, Brown. That damn brown on. You were supposed to say Cleveland.
Cleveland, Cleveland, Cleveland rocks.